Good morning, everyone. Today's homework help video will be on page 185, number 1, 3, 5, 6, and 8. For today's work, we're going to be looking at the multiple ways that we've used to find slope in this particular lesson. So for number 1, if you remember, we were using the equation slope equals rise over run. And when we look at our graphic here, we've got actually a negative slope because our slope is actually going down from left to right. So we have a rise of negative 15 because it's going downward over a run of 24. So we just simply write our equation, slope equals negative 15 because the line is going downward over 24. And then we can simplify by dividing each by 3, and we end up with negative 5 over 8. So the slope for number 1 is negative 5 over 8. For problem number 3, once again, we're looking at finding the slope using rise over run. And we can just count on the grid. In this case, we find our 2 points that were selected. We start at the one in the upper left-hand corner and we count 1, 2, 3. So for number 3, we actually have a rise of negative 3 because the line's going down. Remember I said a line that slopes downward has a negative slope? So a rise of negative 3. And to find the run, we start at the point we just ended at and we count 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got a run of positive 4. So our slope for number 3 is negative 3 over 4. And again, the reason that it's negative is because it's sloping downward. All right, number 5. For example, number 5, we're using the change in y over change in x strategy. So change in y over change in x. And remember, you can take any 2 sets of points from the table, and as long as you subtract them in the appropriate order, you'll get the correct slope. So I'm going to select 7 and 9 for my y, and we can call those y1 and y2, and then I'm going to select 2 and 3 for my x and call them x1 and x2. And really, we can still use that equation. We can say slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Use the coordinates in the correct order. So I'm going to take my y2 minus my y1. So remember that was 9 minus 7 over x2 minus x1, which is 3 minus 2. And when I subtract, I get 2 over 1 for a slope of 2. So my slope for number 5 is 2. Now for number 6, we're looking at using our equation slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And remember I said just label these. You can label the first 2 x1, y1, the second x2, y2. And then we just plug them in. Remember, we can use m for slope, and y2 is 7, minus y1 is 1, over x2 is 2, minus x1 is 0. Straight subtraction, 7 minus 1 is 6, 2 minus 0 is 2. We get a slope of 3. And then for number 8, last but not least, same thing. Label those coordinates, x1, y1. I'm going to put my x2, y2 up top so it doesn't crowd it so much. And then once again, we apply that equation. Slope equals y2 minus y1, which is 7 minus 2, over x2 minus x1, which is 4 minus 1. 7 minus 2 is 5. 4 minus 1 is 3. Our slope for number 8 is 5 over 3. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, obviously, please make sure to check in with me during MLT or after class. Talk to you tomorrow.